and thank you for tuning in to episode 7 of season 3 of Back of a Length. I'm still Marc, and we really need to work on our intros because we say this every week.
Yeah,
I'm still Marc and you're still Renee.
I'm still Renee. I don't know, like, do people actually expect us to change?
Maybe one day we'll just throw out some random names, put on a bit of an accent, and people will be like, oh, what happened to the original two, bro? That's my Otara accent in New Zealand, for those who know Otara. Episode 7. Let's move on very swiftly. I'm going to start this week on 2 little rants, which might not surprise you. The first one, it's not really a rant per se, it's just people who point out the painstakingly obvious. So Dion Nash, who I have called Captain Obvious, has said in the media this week that he believes Australia are a much bigger threat than the South Africa side that the Black Caps have just beaten. And I'm like, really? Are you?
I didn't see that coming.
I was thinking we were just going to walk over the Australians as well. South Africa's D team, or Australia's best 11, one of the best 11s that they've had in recent years. And Dion Nash is telling us to manage our expectations.
Oh my gosh!
Cheers, Sherlock.
thank you, Dion Nash. Like, I will concede this is the Australia A- team with David Warner just retiring and a few others. Not quite there, but this is. Actually, no, I take that back. This is an A team. It's not the A+ team.
It's a stronger team as they could send over.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, Dion Nash.
And thank you, Australia, for sending a full-strength team over as well and respecting the threat that New Zealand potentially pose.
And for, giving it all to Test cricket, but more on that next week for the New Zealand Test cricket. But, Marc, you've got something to say about English Test cricket?
I do. So I'll paint a picture that nobody really wants to see. I was lying on my bed on, I think it was maybe Thursday night. Maybe Friday night, as you do when you've had a long day at work and you're like, all I want to do is watch a bit of positive Test cricket.
Yes, I do know that feeling.
And I turn on the TV and England are going pretty well. Ben Duckett is flying along as he does, and Joe Root's at the crease with him, and you're thinking, do you know what, we're 280 runs behind India's first innings score, not doing too badly, and then Joe Root inexplicably plays a reverse scoop straight to second slip.
Oh, yuck.
For no reason whatsoever. And that then brought an absolute collapse of wickets. Johnny Bairstow, who is out of form and has been for quite a while, got a duck, I think. And then, just a procession of wickets after that. So I don't mind Bazball because I do think that it does move the game forward in conditions sometimes where a game does need to be moved forward. So in India, for example, they batted for a day and a half and got 470 or whatever it was. Obviously, if England kind of go 2 and over, it's going to be a draw. So I don't mind Bazball. But my interpretation of Bazball and my understanding of Bazball that it was going to be selective aggression, and that wasn't selective aggression. And the thing that annoyed me the most is it was off Jasprit Bumrah, who has been the bowler of the series so far, and is probably the best Test bowler in the world at the moment. So you're thinking, just see him out.
What are you doing?
The other thing about it as well is Joe Root is such a good classical player. I would much rather see him be aggressive, right, and play a cover drive and snick behind than reverse scoop one off Jasprit Bumrah into second slip. I
absolutely detest the scoop shot when it goes wrong. Like, I'll allow it when it does work and you go for 6 or 4 and it's a good option. But when it goes wrong, it's just the most disgusting cricket shot, in my opinion.
So this is the argument, right? Is if it goes well, it's a good shot. If it doesn't go well, it looks awful. If that ball goes for 4 or 6, everyone goes, clever, cheeky, good shot. But he's gotten out to that shot 11 times now. So you're thinking, just put it away for a bit. You're not in good form. You've not hit 50 yet this series. So just put it away until you make 50. If you're on 90 or 100 or whatever, and England are 100 behind India and we're 3 wickets down, by all means, get that shot out. Kind of play with the bowlers' lengths, play with their lines a little bit, which is the intention behind that shot, right? Is to try and mess with the field, mess with the line, mess with the length. But the game stage was not there. And it really annoyed me to the point where I stopped watching Test cricket and I put my PlayStation on instead.
That is not what you want.
It's not. And I put on Cricket 23. And I can tell you, when I was Joe Root, I did not play a reverse scoop.
Oh, well done for not giving in to the scoop shot there. Okay, so back on home soil this week. As we said, Australia are here, and we will start with a T20 series on Wednesday night in Wellington, and then 2 games in Auckland Friday night. Woo! Party night. And
Exciting.
A nice recovery on Sunday afternoon for the fans.
For those who want to have a recovery day, others may choose to go hard.
That is true. Should we run through the New Zealand team? Because it is a little bit interesting. So we've got Mitchell Santner captaining it. Finn Allen now back for games 2 and 3, a.k.a. coincidentally the games that I will be there for, is Trent Boult. Love this move. I think it absolutely has to happen with the World Cup coming up.
Yep.
No excuses.
Pretty solid, yep.
That does mean Tim Southey will appear only in the first game in Wellington before going on a little bit of a break before the Test series next week. We also have Marc's favourite Marc Chapman in there. Devon Conway will keep. We've got Lockie Ferguson, Adam Milne, Glenn Phillips, Rachin Ravindra and Ish Sodhi. And some late news coming out this week. Ben Sears will come in for Matt Henry, who is injured, and in for an injured Tim Seifert. And I swear I had nothing to do with this. Is Will Young.
Tom Bruce. Okay.
Oh, right. No, it's not Tom Bruce.
He's still in Bangladesh. He's ripping it up in Bangladesh, to be fair. Just got to give a shout out to his fans, because if we don't mention him now, they'll think we're just ignoring him. And, Tom Bruce.
It's actually... Do you know what? It actually wouldn't have been a bad option for Tom Bruce to come into the squad with Tim Seifert.
He's doing pretty well in Bangladesh. It's a like-for-like replacement, essentially, isn't it? Because he's kind of a makeshift wicket-keeper, and he's a good middle-order batsman. And
he's pretty aggressive. I think he's as aggressive as Will Young, if not more. I mean, Will Young is more of sort of a traditional...
Classically aggressive.
Classic, yeah. I mean, he did get that nice century in the Super Smash quite early in the season. But yeah, Tom Bruce would have been
Tom Bruce, what a guy. What a guy.
Wow.
Good squad there for the Black Caps. I'll quickly run through the Australia T20 squad. So we've got Mitchell Marsh, who was captain, Pat Cummins, Tim David, Nathan Allen.
Mitchell versus Mitchell.
It is Mitchell versus Mitchell.
What do you know?
The two Mitches, who's going to come out on top? That's quite all right.
Battle of the Mitches. I love this. Okay, sorry, keep going.
It is. Better than Battle of the Bitches. Mitchell Marsh is captain. Sorry. Pat Cummins, Tim David, Nathan Ellis, Josh Hazelwood, Travis Head, Joss English, Spencer Johnson, Glenn Maxwell, Matt Short, Steve Smith, Mitchell Stark, Matthew Wade, David Warner, Adam Zampa. So that is the strongest sides they could have sent over, and I'm super, super excited. The two that I'm really excited to see if they do get a go is Spencer Johnson. Mm-hmm. So he had a really good Big Bash series for the Brisbane Heat this year. So he's going to be in really good form. And I'm also looking forward to seeing Tim David, because I like him as a player. He's great.
I mean, I hate saying this, but I do quite like Tim David as well.
Yeah. And Matt Short as well, because he also had a really good season for, was that Adelaide or Brisbane in the Big Bash. Out of all of those players, who are you most looking forward to seeing, or least looking forward to seeing from I don't know, who do you think is going to be the player of the series for Australia?
For Australia? I hate to say it. I think it's going to be led from the front. I think Mitchell Marsh.
Yeah. He's in such good form at the moment. And he playing at 2 T20s at Eden Park, I think, is going to bode really well for him. So he's got long arms. So that's probably not where you're expecting me to go with that. But if you pitch it up,
he's range or shots or something, just not arms.
Well, so that's where his range comes from. Is he's got such long levers, right? So if you pitch it up, he's going to send it to the North Shore. And if you bowl it back of a length, not a plug for the podcast, if you bowl it back of a length, he's going to just put it out the ground, because he can pick it up really early. So I think he's going to be quite a big player for Australia. Yeah,
I mean, we hate to say it, but maybe we'll have to turn those sixes into some kind of game when we're at the game on Friday.
You know that T20 cricket is an expensive day out with me because every 6 is a drink.
Yeah, especially at Eden Park, because they will go
exactly,
on the roof. So you know what is be funny though? Like, do you know at Eden Park, like, do they ever go on the roof? And then they hit those people who go up there and do the roof climb, and you can go up there and like watch the game.
Introduced a rule to say that if you hit one, you're out. You've got to catch it one-handed, no juggle zone. That's the rule. That is
true. Okay. Let us know what you think about this Australian side, about this New Zealand side, over on the socials at Back of a Length. Oh, it's going to be a heck of a series. It's all going to be over in like 4 or 5 days. 6 days, can't count.
But it's going to be such a good prelude to the Test series.
So good.
Yeah, we'll put out a tweet, put out a poll on our Instagram account and Twitter account /X account, and we will get the people's thoughts as to how this series is going to go. 3-match series, who's going to take it, and what the score will be: 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, whatever.
Yes, and speaking of the socials, we took to Twitter, X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. One day we'll decide what it's going to be called.
Twix. I like that.
We took to that platform this week for help with our favourite segment, the first 11 of the week. And ask the fans, what is your favourite moment between the Black Caps and Australia? Well, it's your favourite Black Cap moment, really, because, you know, we mostly have New Zealand followers and none of them are going to vote for Australia. And, wow, we got some good memories. Some of these even I hadn't heard of, but we've done a bit of research and had a look. So are you ready for this, Marc?
I'm ready.
Okay, so in that one we have Stephen Fleming for his game in Napier in 1998, where he scored 111 not out, the first day nighter to be played at that ground. Also, did you know?
I did not know that. That's a good piece of knowledge there, a bit of trivia.
There you go. In it too was Lance Cairns in Melbourne 1983 in the World Series, 6 sixes in 1 over, or as I like to say, a golden shower.
I've not heard that term for a while.
Yeah, we've got to bring it back. I mean, no one did one in the Super Smash, so, you know, maybe this week will be the time for another golden shower. Hopefully Finn Allen, not Mitch Marsh. Okay.
Mitchell Marsh has got long levers and he's going to give you that golden shower with his long levers.
Here we go. Okay, 3 is Kane Williamson. 2017, he ran out Marcus Stoinis. Now, what had happened here is the Black Caps have got to quite a respectable score in this game, in this ODI, and then the Black Caps bowled and they were something like 50 for 5, and then Marcus Stoinis came out and was on 146 and was going to single-handedly win Australia this game until Kane Williamson did probably one of the best run-outs I've ever seen, like a full-length sprawled on the ground like an upside-down snow angel getting the ball to the wickets. Absolutely brilliant. Look it up on YouTube. 4 and 5 come from the same game, the 1992 World Cup opener. So 4 is Martin Crowe getting 100. Some good memories there. And number 5 is Chris Harris running out David Boone after he scored his 100, meaning that New Zealand won the game and got their World Cup off to a very, very good start.
Sounds like our followers love a run-out.
They do love a run-out. I love a run-out.
I do like a run-out.
I do like a run-out.
Not as much as a specky catch, but...
Yeah, well, this is like memorable moments, so you've got to remember that.
Yeah.
6 is Matthew Sinclair. Now, so speaking of specky catches, Matthew Sinclair, Melbourne 2004, taking a one-handed diving catch to the left to get out opener Matthew Hayden. 7, Jeff Wilson, Hamilton, 1993 ODI, hit the winning runs with just 3 balls to spare. Always nice to get a win over Australia and Hamilton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 8 was probably the equal top suggestion. Richard Hadley, 9 wickets at the Gabba in 1985.
Understandable why that's probably close to, if not top of the list.
So I can't actually say I remember that one, but
I don't even think I was a twinkle in my mother's eye at that stage.
Was I. But I just look it up on YouTube. Very good. 9, Shane Bond, 2003 World Cup. He bowled 6 wickets for 23 runs, and somehow New Zealand still lost that game, which is terrible. Now, you may be wondering why Kane Williamson wasn't voted for this game earlier, but we've gone with number 10, Trent Boult, for the 2015 Cricket World Cup pool game in Auckland, where Trent Boult got 5 for 27, basically set New Zealand up to win that game. And I was in the crowd, and it was, I'll tell you what, so one of the best games I've ever been to.
I was just about to say that's one of the best games I've ever been to, because Australia got 157 or something like that in the first innings at Eden Park, and you're thinking absolute walkover. And then, just a middle order collapse, because they got off to a good start as well, I think, the openers, because it was Guppy and McCullum opening that World Cup. I think they got off to a really, really good start, and then there was a bit of a collapse. Mitchell Starc, I think, in the middle overs, picking up a few wickets there, and it was Trent Boult and Kane Williamson at the end. And when that 6 got hit, the second best atmosphere I've ever heard at a cricket game, and the first was obviously Grant Elliott in the semi-final in the same competition.
How good is winning a match with a 6 in the World Cup? So good. And number 11 was probably the second highest voting, and probably my favourite, Doug Bracewell in Hobart 2011, because that was a test match. We won a test match in Australia. Absolutely love it. And I do have to give a sort of a 12th man drinks running honourable mention for our wonderful supporter Martin Lawrence, because he is Australian. So he said his favourite moment was when Australia won the 2015 World Cup, which is not mine.
And probably not many of our followers, but good to get a little jibe in early there, Martin.
Yeah, we do like, I like Martin because he's a Melbourne Renegades fan, I believe, so he shares a bit of my pain.
Could be worse. I was thinking on my drive home from work today about what my favourite moment was between a New Zealander and Australia in cricket. And I was very close to going, Kane Williamson for his 6 at Eden Park. But I think my favourite moment for a New Zealander against Australia was Ben Stokes hitting his first Test match century against Australia in Perth in the 2013-2014 series. So that's my highlight for a New Zealander versus Australia.
For goodness sake, any excuse to bring him up.
Yeah, got to be done.
You got to be done. Good. You actually know what? Speaking of New Zealanders, Test cricket Australia, the one that wasn't mentioned that I thought would be Ross Taylor, 290 runs in Perth.
That was in Perth as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, surprising that didn't come up, actually. Because wasn't that the game, didn't the day after or something like that, he went to get laser eye surgery?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty mad considering he just hit 290. I'd be like, do you know what? I'm seeing it just fine, mate. Leave it as it is. That's it. Thank you to all of our Twitter, Twix peeps for giving us the content there. There's a lot of really memorable things there, most of which are before our time, which is kind of sad. Kind of shows how important this series is, though, for the Black Caps, because they do need to wrestle back some of the initiative, but also a really sad indictment of how little Australia and New Zealand get to play each other. So it's really good to see this week that the two teams and the boards have agreed to make the Chapel Hadley series a lot more of a regular feature in their calendars going forward. So we really do look forward to that. One last thing before we do close, I just want to touch on spectacular catches again, because you know I'm a bit of a sucker for them. Glenn Phillips.
Oh, yes.
Glenn Phillips with 2 absolutely outstanding catches in the last Test match.
He's a dynamite fielder, eh?
He's so good. Like, I was thinking about something just before this episode started, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was who I was looking forward to kind of seeing most in this particular series, and Glenn Maxwell came up, and then I was thinking, would I rather have as a spinner Glenn Maxwell, Adam Zampa, or Mitchell Santner? And I went for Glenn Maxwell on the basis that he's not your frontline spinner, and then I was thinking, well, he'll make you runs. But he doesn't always make runs. But when he does make runs, he changes the game. But then I was thinking, well, as a fielder, he saves you just as many runs as he could make. So he's an all-round package, Glenn Maxwell. He's just such a dynamite player. And I feel like Glenn Phillips can have exactly the same input into games and the same reputation as Glenn Maxwell has, because he can hit it long, he bowls spin, and he's a gun fielder. So I think that watching those two go up against each other is going to be pretty cool.
So we're going to have the Mitch versus Mitch.
And Glenn's.
Glenn versus Glenn. We've got a Tim David and a Tim Southey.
In game 1.
in game one.
Not a lot of imagination for names in this part of the world, it would seem. But yeah, we're super excited. We will put out the poll, as we say, on our socials at Back of a Length with a little underscore, or on Instagram, which is at Back of a Length. And we'll also chuck some content onto Facebook as well, which is Back of a Length Podcast. Let us know who you're really looking forward to seeing from the Australian team, if anybody. If anybody says David Warner, blocked. Yeah, we're excited. We will be at the games on Friday and Sunday. There's a little group of us going on Friday. So if you're around, Vincent, that's mainly aimed at you because you're kind of dilly-dallying about whether you kind of want to go or not. I think you should.
Come on, Vincent.
Give us a shout, and we'll be more than happy to catch up for a few drinks beforehand and maybe a couple afterwards as well, because it's a Friday night, baby.
Woohoo! And it's going to be a good night because Black Cap's going to win. Going to call it. Black Cap's going. They're going to win.
Black Caps bat first, 280 after 20 overs, and then David Warner will get a golden duck, and they'll get bowled out for 50.
Woohoo! Sounds like an absolute plan. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great week of cricket, but until next week, bye!